Alright guys, it has been a super busy week of trying to get as much done as possible on the truck and trailer setup because it's just kind of been terrible for a long time, and we finally got so much done this week. Let me explain what we've done so far. So if you guys watched my video of me taking my vet over there, there's the vet, to Road Atlanta for Good Life, which is about an 8-hour drive, you would know that my brakes on this thing are terrible. Like terrible. So after that trip, I went out and I bought all new brake stuff like rear shoes and wheel cylinders, bigger ones from a 1 ton instead of a 3/4 ton. Front pads, was gonna buy front rotors, all that stuff, but the problem is, to take apart the front, you've gotta do new wheel bearings and everything, and it's like a nightmare, not fun. So we were gonna do the rear and the master cylinder to try to resolve the brake issue, and then realize that the rear, you gotta pull the axles out. So we're like, oh my God, don't wanna do that either. So I just put it off for the longest time. Finally, we were talking about it, and it was a weird issue, so we were like, maybe it's the master cylinder. So we changed the master cylinder. Let me show you. So before we changed the master cylinder, the problem was when you press the brakes, if they had assist, but they were just so weak, like, you would have to get on them pretty hard, like lay into them to get the truck to stop like a normal, at a normal pace, just a casual stopping pace. If you tried to stop any harder than that, it really didn't stop much harder after that normal stopping pace. So it was really scary when towing because you just could not stop quick at all. So changed the master cylinder, bled all the brakes. The issue got worse. Now the pedal was rock hard at the top for about a second or two, and then it would kind of like break past that point and then work as they did before. Still bad, but at least stopped. When it's rock hard at the top, the truck doesn't do anything for about 2 seconds. So that was terrible. We tested, let me zoom in for you. This line is coming from the vacuum pump. We replaced this because it was kind of cracked and corroded. Rubber corrodes, right? It was cracked and leaking. So we teed into this and checked vacuum pressure here, and it was only 12 at idle. On Fed's Cummins truck, same Dodge truck basically, it was 20 at idle and just 20 all the time. Mine was only 12, would go up to 20 under throttle, back down to 12. So then we took the line off, tested just the vacuum pump. The vacuum pump gave us 20 flat, straight across the board, idle and whatever. So then we determined we obviously have a leak somewhere. We checked all these lines and everything else that could cause a leak. All of it held vacuum. The only thing that didn't was the booster. So we changed the booster. That fixed the problem. So if you look, in order to change this, you've got to take off all those bolts up there, which would have taken an incredibly long time because you can't get an impact or anything in there. But fortunately, I have Milwaukee electric ratchets. Saved the day. It literally took 15 minutes to change this booster last night. Brakes work like they should now, which is, I can't describe how amazing of a feeling this was. I was dreading it. I was thinking that we were going to do all this work on the whole brake system and still have the same problem. It's just like going to be old truck problems. I wasn't going to be able to get the brakes to work right, and it was very stressful. And now that the brakes work good, I'm like elated. I can't get over how excited I am about working brakes, as silly as it sounds. Younger me wouldn't even care about brakes. But because we were worried about the brakes, we also bought trailer brakes, which we're going to install today. But I just wanted to update you guys on the brakes here. All right, so now we have trailer brakes to put on the trailer. I'm hoping everything is here that I need because I'm going on a trip tomorrow. It's like a 3-hour drive each way, towing the vet, which is the heaviest car I tow, and having trailer brakes on top of good truck brakes would just make the drive so much less stressful, because when you have like a ton of room that you've got to keep to stop in time in case somebody slams on their brakes, it's super stressful. You can't just relax and drive. You're constantly on edge. So I want to get these on. I hope they're right. I figured I had 3,500 pound axles on my trailer. I don't know. I just got these off eBay. They're like the cheapest listing, which always is kind of concerning because it might be the listing that doesn't include everything. But what we have here, oh geez, these are heavy. What's all this nonsense? Wheel bearings. We got the drum, the electric drum brake assembly here, which just bolts on to, oh yeah, it has the wires right here. This will be cake. Getting them wired up might be kind of annoying, but this should be very easy. You guys might notice this. We also registered it. Finally, I've been driving around with it unregistered because I thought I needed a bill of sale from the previous owner, but it's a home-built trailer, so I didn't even know I didn't need a bill of sale at all because it's never been registered. They never finished it and got it on the road, so I just finished it up and got it registered as a home built trailer because that's what it is. And now I have a legal trailer, working truck brakes, and we're gonna have working trailer brakes hopefully by the end of this video. So truck trailer situation is tight. Later on I want to explain my end goal and plans and stuff for the truck. A lot of you have been asking about that, and I realize that I've never explained to you kind of what my goals are with it. But first, let's try to get these brakes on. You know what, let's mount the tag first so I can feel like I accomplished something if this turns into a nightmare. It's always good to meet at least some goals, keeps you motivated. Also, for the naysayers who tell me I shouldn't have put it here, this is like right at the same spot where the factory ramps go in. It's like flush with that. So that's going to be kind of a support to keep this from dragging too hard if it ever hits. And this one's lower than it, so I figured that was the best spot. Alright, back to the matter at hand. I don't know if you guys can tell on the camera, but all this stuff is pretty shiny. This cotter pin's not super rusted, it looks pretty shiny itself. A lot of grease in here, new looking grease, like it's still got color to it. It's not all burnt out. So that leads me to believe that these bearings were done recently. At least this one was. Just saying, it's a shame that we're replacing it, but I wonder, it'd be cool if all of them had been done recently. I didn't have to worry about the rest of them. All that goo. Ta-da. Is that just loose? Yeah, I guess you don't tighten these down all the way. If you do tighten these down all the way, generally it presses on the bearing and it doesn't want to rotate smoothly. I should get something to put all this stuff on. That was easy. Well, of course, these studs on this backing plate didn't come with any nuts, and I've tried just about everything I have, all the way up to like a 12150 lug nut and a 12125. And the 12150 is close, so it's definitely got to be some sort of standard thread, because I don't have anything that fits. Yeah, so now I gotta go to the hardware store, but my garage is open, so I can't really leave. So yeah, I gotta figure this out, because I can't fit the trailer all the way in here. I can't really pull it out, because then it's taking up too much space. Figure it out. Oh my God, I have to tell you guys the story of going to get these nuts. So, of course, these are I'm probably out of frame, I don't even care. These are 7/16-20, so they're fine thread standard nuts. Of course, 7/16-14 is everywhere. The 14 is a thread pitch. So I think this is just an issue of getting this thing out, locking the house up, and going up to the parts store. Of course, the parts store has one little package or two. No other parts stores nearby have it. So then I have to drive all the way across town in rush hour traffic to Tractor Supply, because Tractor Supply would definitely have standard fasteners, right? No, of course not. They don't have it either. So then I go to Ace and I'm like, oh man, they're about to close. I would have gone there in the first place, but I thought that they had already closed. So I fly over to Ace, get there, get out of my car frustrated, lock my keys in my car. Go inside. Hey, do you guys have a piece of metal I can use to like unlock my car? It's super easy, I know how to do it. No, we don't have anything like that. I'm like, you definitely do. Okay, I just need to use it real quick. No, do we have anything? No, we don't have anything. So then I have to go buy 2 like sticks of aluminum and a flashlight, because my phone's in my car, and break into my own car to get the thing, to then spend another 10 minutes, 15 minutes trying to find these nuts because they were in a super obscure spot. Which should have taken 20 minutes, less, 15 minutes, took 2.5 hours. So let's get back to work. Sorry for that, I had to vent. Well, now that that's over with, we can actually bolt this on. Oh my god, I thought that the bolt spacing was going to be wrong, and I about lost it, guys. I about lost it. Why do they staple these bags shut? Like, you can't open that. Figured if I had to trek all over the face of Orlando, I might as well get some wash hairs for my nuts. Kill me. Kill me. At least we have the Make Life Easier tool here. Okay, brake installed. All right, so I'm not 100% on how this goes together, but logic would dictate that this big bearing goes in here where it fits well. This seal gets popped in here once I put that bearing in. Then the front goes this bearing like this, the nut and washer we already have, and then this cap, right? That makes sense. So yeah, I guess that's how we're gonna do it. Grease this thing up. I love playing with grease. So greasy. Just gonna put an excessive amount of grease on here. There's probably something bad about doing this, but I don't care. Okay, go ahead and grease this other one. My fingers are greasy. Okay, based on other seals I've installed in my life, we will want to find, actually, this one should be easy. Of course not. We'll want to find a socket of roughly this dimension. Ah, this works. The tried and true go around in a circle a bunch of times method. Yeah, that makes total sense. The bearing sits like right up against this cup. Like this cup is gonna hold this bearing in place more or less. Shouldn't have touched that. Grease all over myself again. So now we need to slide this on. Put a little more grease on here. Should probably wire these up and verify they work before I put it back together, but you know, that would be the smart thing to do. And we are obviously not smart enough for that. Okay, heavy drum. There we go. On the bing, front bearing. It's already got some grease, could use a little more. Washer with a slot in it so it goes the right way. You can't spin. Big nut that didn't need anywhere near this much grease on it. Okay. Now I don't know what I did with the cotter pin. Of course, and I was at a hardware store. I could have bought. Oh, I found it. No need to be alarmed. Cotter pin is alive and well. Not too happy about going back in there, but ta-da! All right. Now we will bend this guy so that it holds all of this junk together. I will wait to put the cap on. That is one thing we'll be smart enough to wait to put the this guy on. We're just gonna wait. We shall put the wheel back on though. Got some front poke now. Poke game. Poke life. Oh shit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, it hit the camera. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, and I'll get back to you guys when we get to the next step, which is wiring, because the other side is the exact same thing as this, so there's no point in doing it twice, right? But I have to do it twice, so I'm gonna do that. All right, I have both sides together. Again, I left the dust cap off just because I want to make sure they work. I have the wiring here. This is just the old wiring from the trailer before I upgraded it to 6-pin. So we're gonna try to wire these brakes in. It's pretty simple. There's, see if you can see it. Yeah, see these two green wires here? So it doesn't matter which one's positive and which one's ground. Like literally one you take and you ground it to the trailer. One you send to the brake wire coming from the trailer harness, and that's it. It's electromagnet, so it doesn't matter which polarity it is. So I don't really think I can take you guys down under there with me. So just trust me, I'll see you in a minute. All right, everything is hooked up. The problem we're having now, Fed came home finally, and he's helping me. So we tested the circuit to the brakes. So we grounded to the trailer, sent power through the actual trailer wiring connector to the brakes. They lock and unlock just fine. So everything that I just did, the trailer back is fine, but we're having issues with the brake controller in the truck, sending that signal to the trailer to turn the brakes on.
The problem's over here.
Yeah?
Yeah. The power that's powering your brake controller, it has a wire nut, and the wire is like barely in it.
That might be it.
And then there's another one where the wire nut just fell off, so the cable's just like barely touching each other.
So if we connect those properly, you think it'll
get us
better?
closer, because it's...
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do that with a real connector. Sorry for the glitchy camera. Oh, look, Fed put up these Christmas lights on the garage door. Makes it, you know, nice mood out here and when it's dark. Festive, there you go. It's very festive. You're so festive. All right, well, it is now raining, but we have determined that the brake controller is likely the problem. So there's 4 wires going in, you know, from the brake controller. You have power in, ground in, and then you have switch from the brakes. So generally you run that to like the brake switch that kicks the lights on, and you have power out to the brakes. So we've got good power. We've tested that we've got good ground. I used my power probe to send power through the blue wire, which is the one from the brake controller to power the brakes. Actuates the brakes just fine. So we know the wiring all the way up to there is good, and we've checked the wiring to the brake controller, and it seems to be good. It seems like the issue is with the brake controller and the signal wire to the brake controller. We've overrode that and it still didn't work. So we're gonna go to Walmart at, I think it's like midnight. We're gonna buy a brake controller and a quick splice and try to make this work. So see you when we get back.
Look at this, you can just like put...
Trailer brake control acquired.
Look at this super not tacky thing. It's like it's just a giant panel. You just like stick to the side of your trans tunnel.
Perfect.
And like right
Fed
through
is obsessed with everything that is in here right now, all the tacky stuff. They got vinyl wrap. Save $5. It's only $25 for what? A 12 by 36 roll?
You can't be putting things like that on the internet. You know, wouldn't actually buy any of this.
Well, I know. You're just enthralled by it.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Alright, let's go home and put this on. This has been another mission.
Black Mamba wrap. Black Mamba.
We're all the way down in OBC, if y'all know what that is. You know,
I have the Black Mamba.
This is a 24-hour AutoZone.
24-hour Black Mamba.
Alright, we are back with the brake controller and the quick splice to quick splice into the factory brake switch wire. I think we're going to do this first, see if that brake controller works, which it probably won't still, and then put this one in. Gotta love 24-hour AutoZones. So we got the trailer brake controller working. Fed read the instruction manual and figured out that it doesn't work unless you're moving because it needs to see inertia. So it was working with the button. We figured out that made sense. So that's good, but it's only getting 8 volts to the brakes, which we noticed because it didn't seem to stop them hard when we were spinning them in the air. So we followed the wiring. Wiring was corroded, the main power to the brake controller, and then Fed noticed my blower motor stuff was corroded too, so we're rewiring all of that while we're at it because I have intermittent, like, good blower motorness. So yeah, we'll update tomorrow when we actually test drive it. All right, so we have essentially given up on getting the trailer brakes working 100%. So we tracked it all the way through, and it seems like we're getting 12 volts out of the controller, and then right before the plug on the back of the truck, it's down to 8. So the wire going there somehow has voltage drop. I don't really know how, because it should just be a wire. There shouldn't be anything spliced into it or any places for corrosion. I'm not really sure what the deal is. We replaced all the connections up there. I don't know, but we at least have good truck brakes now, so that is like the major thing here. I almost forgot entirely about truck mods. So the plans for this truck is to do a front lift just to even it out. The front is sagged a lot from factory. The axle is about like, I don't know, an inch or two from the bump stops. So I'm gonna lift the front to prevent it from bottoming out, because it bottoms out all the time. Do new shocks all the way around just to make it ride better. Pretty bouncy, pretty bouncy. I'm gonna be taking it up to Suncoast Transmissions, which if you guys know diesels and diesel transmissions, you probably know who Suncoast is. If you know this truck, you know that these trucks, the motors are generally pretty good, but the transmissions just die. They just die all the time. They're just not very stout, even in stock conditions. So I'm having it built by them for like utmost reliability when I'm gonna be traveling across the country. And then if we wanna make more power and do jazzy stuff like that, we'll have the capability to, which is cool. So that's very important. That's like first on the list. Second on the list is going to be gauges. I'm going to use the same Auber gauges I have in the Miata, just their round versions, which is like the one we put in Nicole's 240. Gauge is really important in a diesel truck. When you're towing, yeah, think about it, it is turboed, it is, the mine is modified. So you want to know your EGTs, your boost, your coolant temp, your trans temp. Trans temp is really important. So I'm going to put some gauges in it just so I can monitor everything. The front lift, the trans, and then wheels and tires. Oh, and paint. I really didn't want to paint it because I kind of like the way it looks now, but this little rust spot is getting worse. So we're gonna have to paint that. Not sure on the color yet. I probably just stick with the dark blue so the door jambs match, or I don't know. I really love to keep it two-tone, but I feel like it'll be expensive. If you know anybody in the Central Florida area who paints like pretty decent, it doesn't have to be amazing, can fix rust repair, paint, you know, all that stuff, and they would be affordable, let me know, because it needs to be affordable. It's a truck at the end of the day. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time on our trip to Palm Beach. Let's hope this thing works and is reliable. That's fingers crossed, but at least we have brakes now ish. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Bye. It's cold. It's so cold today.